Hey, it's Ducky, and today we are going to be catching up on my scrapbook. This is my scrapbook. I made it myself. It's got quite a few pages filled. However, these are the last pages, and this is the 7th of December 2024. So, I have a fair bit of catching up to do. I haven't had that many fun things happen this year, because I've had some difficult times. However, there have been some fun things, so I need to fill this in. And any pages where I have either my siblings in or family and friends probably won't be on this page, just because I don't want to put their pictures online. I definitely won't be putting any pictures of my siblings who are children on here, because I know what the internet is like, and I am not putting those photos. Those can be kept for private social media for my friends and family. Strangers on the internet do not need to see my 3-year-old and 7, 8-year-old brother and sister. But yeah, I've got a lot to catch up on. I collect all sorts of little trinkety ephemery things, and I have done for a while. I can't even remember. I don't know how many sketchbooks I've done. Sketchbooks? I'm so used to talking about sketchbooks. I don't even know how many scrapbooks I've done. I don't think I've ever showed them on here, so why not? I need to get this scrapbook up to date before my nan's house sells, and before I need to move in with my partner's family, because I am not going to have anywhere near as many scrapbooking supplies once I move in with them, because they will be all in storage until me and my partner have a house. And then hopefully I will keep up to date with this, because I will have a studio space, which is really exciting. I have never had a studio space. The majority of my videos, and I just realised I've got a load of crap in the background, apologies, I'm not refilming that. The majority of my videos have been filmed on this bed. I have a desk that is like a lap tray desk that I used when I was working. I bought for working from home because I don't have an office space anywhere. And so that is where the majority of my videos have been filmed. I cannot wait to have a space where I can have all my art stuff up and all together and organised nicely, and a desk. I'm so excited about having a desk. So of course I will show you the studio once I have it, but that could be a year and a half away by yet. So let's just get on with this. I have been rambling so much. I'm sorry. Let's get on with this scrapbooking. I've just realised I'm missing the P. I'm going to need to find that P and stick it back on. Oops. So first I had to cut up all my photos. I printed these off on my new inkjet printer, but I was using old photo paper I had lying around from when I was at college doing photography, so the paper was definitely not made for inkjet. So the photos look a little shit, but I'm going with them looking aesthetic and vintage. On New Year's Day we went to a local car show. I wasn't very well, so I spent most of the time sat on a bench looking at cars. On February 1st, me and my partner took my nan to a garden centre to look for fences that matched her current ones, and she bought us lunch. I had a very fancy fish finger sandwich that was actually really nice, and I think it was all homemade, even like the sauce. Incredible. This was the first time I had done my scrapbooking about my nan since she died, and this was difficult. And a theme throughout the entirety of this video, as I lived with her, so I did a lot of things with her. I ended up deleting a lot of the footage of days with her because it felt too vulnerable. February 8th, I ended up being rushed to A&E in an ambulance as I kept losing consciousness, which was really fun. We thought I was having serotonin syndrome, which can be fatal due to my medication because we had been told to look out for it by my doctor. It wasn't that, luckily, but it was an adverse reaction to my amitriptyline, so I had to come off that and spent the next several days having these symptoms until it was out of my system, which is really annoying because it's the only thing so far that's helped my pain other than opioids, and doctors are not going to put me on opioids long term at my age, and I also don't really want to be on opioids long term. For Valentine's Day, me and my partner went to our favourite restaurant for lunch. We had very yummy Caribbean food and the best mocktails I've ever had. Then we went to the cinema to watch the new Captain America movie, and we really enjoyed it. My partner finally, 3 years in, bought me flowers for the first time and got me some very yummy vegan chocolate.
February 19th, we were in Bristol for a concert. So of course we needed to find somewhere yummy for food. We found a ramen place for food. At first I thought it was a hole in the wall, and then I realised after we'd ordered that it was actually a trendy place and that they were selling merch, and realised, oh, this is either going to be really good or really shit. My ramen was bland as fuck, and my partner's burger wasn't very good and tiny. However, their homemade kimchi was incredible. I wanted to take a bucket of it home with me. Afterwards, on the way to the concert, we realised we were running early and had a bit of a sweet tooth, so we stopped at a waffle place and they had vegan waffles and vegan ice cream. I was in heaven. Then we got to see Yumi at 6, my favourite band ever, on their farewell tour. It was incredible but very bittersweet. It was my first time seeing them, and it would also be my last. They played my favourite song, Bite My Tongue, but devastatingly, a couple of days later or so, in Sheffield, they brought out Ollie Sykes to sing the song with them. I am so jealous. So jealous.
March 23rd. Me, my dad, my nan, and my dad's aunt and uncle went out for dinner at one of my favourite pubs. It was so lovely, as I haven't seen that side of the family in a long time. We were talking at the pub for hours. I don't think I was really fully an adult the last time I saw them, so we couldn't have the same kind of conversations, and it was incredible hearing about their lives and also of family that are no longer here. But as I said, we'd been at the pub for hours, which meant as we were leaving, I was feeling a little wobbly. And once we got outside and were saying our goodbyes, I dropped to the floor and had a big seizure. What can I say? I know how to make a grand exit. Little did we know, this was our last meal out with my nan before her death, which is bittersweet. I'm so glad we got to have that meal, but it was difficult making those pages. And I'm so glad we got such a lovely photo of her just before she died. Here we hit the dates after my nan's death,
because, well, there are a couple little scrapbooky things that are in between those dates, but it's mainly just in the hospital after my nan's stroke, and I didn't really feel like showing those things. They felt quite vulnerable and personal. On April the 5th, my partner got his hair cut, which he has one of his best friends cuts his hair, so it's always nice to watch them, see them catch up. At that point, I wasn't being let out of a sight of anyone, so I was dragged along to anything anyone was doing because, yeah, people didn't want me being by myself, which is a good thing. And the day after that, we had a barbecue with my partner's parents, which was really nice. At this point, I had started documenting anything and everything I did, finding joy in the little moments, taking photos of random little things, just making sure I had my memories. I think I was the same just after my best friend's death. It makes you realise how important the little things are. And sometimes it's really easy to forget that. Actually some of the most important memories you have are just the everyday, mundane things. April 9th, we made some really yummy oat and raisin cookies. If you haven't gotten the oat and raisin cookie hype because you're like, why would I have those when there's chocolate cookies? I was the same until I tried oat and raisin cookies, and now they are one of my favourites. And my partner is absolutely obsessed. He was very upset when Tesco stopped selling them. So he's got a bit of a vendetta against Tesco now. And we have a lovely picture of my partner's cat, Cookie, which is kind of goes with the whole making cookies. April 12th was my 24th birthday. I struggled to feel as though I could celebrate, given it had only been 10 days since my nan died. I was still somewhat in shock and grieving, and I didn't really want to do anything, but people made sure I had something to do, even if it wasn't anything too intense. My mum invited me for a picnic during the day, but it was forecasted to rain, so we had the picnic at her house. And it didn't actually end up raining, so we ended up eating in the garden. She's always really good at making a good spread of food, and it was very yummy, even if I ended up having to take lactose tablets because half of it had dairy in, but you know, it's fine. That evening, I had a couple of friends over for drinks and pizza. We spent many hours chatting and gossiping like teenagers. I am so grateful for all the people in my life. They have been rocks while I've struggled to find my new normal. I hadn't really spoken to a lot of my friends in a while. Been in a depressive slump before my nan died, and my nan dying made me remember how important friends are, and I am finally starting to see my friends again, which is lovely. Or at least talk to them. My health isn't really good enough to go out the house much, but I am trying. April 17th. April 17th, my dad took me into Bristol for my birthday. I guess one of the silver linings of my nan dying is me and my dad being closer again, and him being in the country and being able to do something with my dad for my birthday. The last time I went and did something for my birthday with him, I must have been 17. I think that was the last birthday I saw him. My 17th birthday, so 2016, nearly 10 years ago. And I think he took me to Alton Towers with my partner at the time. But back to present, well, slightly past, but more present than that. Bristol. First we went out for lunch at a steakhouse called Pasture, and I had an incredible pork meal. I have never had anything so amazing. It was some of the best food I've ever eaten. And my dad had a steak and ale pie with a big bone sticking out the top. Would you scrape out the bone marrow into the pie? Sorry for any vegans or vegetarians. I hate steak and ale pie, but I loved this one, and the bone marrow was incredible. I've always wanted to try it. Afterwards, we went to the main event, Wake the Tiger. It is a trippy art installation that is a commentary on capitalism and greed, and I loved it. You could get lost in there. So many secrets to find, and I think it would probably be mega insane if you were tripping whilst you're there, if you know what I mean. Afterwards, we went to Witherspoon's and had a drink and just spent a long time chatting and catching up. He wasn't around much of my childhood, and I haven't probably spent time with him since I was about 16, so it was nice to get to know who he is now, and also get some explanations as to why he wasn't around as much. As a child, I was devastated by the way he acted, and he can't go back and change that now, and I have the choice to stay angry or forgive him and have him in my life now, and I choose to forgive him. At the end of the day, he was still a kid when he had me, just as my mother was. That's not to say that all teen parents don't know what they're doing, but mine did not. They were struggling, to say the least. Before we left, we grabbed dinner at Caribbean Croft. I had jerk belly pork, and it was incredible. I love Caribbean food, and I find the different types of jerk food so fascinating. Each Caribbean island has a different recipe, let alone when you then have the different family recipes within those islands. I just love jerk food, and I just love Caribbean food. I think it's so fascinating. They had this incredible spicy sauce, and we ended up buying a bottle to take home. April 21st. We had a roast dinner at my mum's for Easter Monday. As someone who is not a fan of roast dinner, I wasn't super happy about having to have 2 roast dinners 2 days in a row with first my partner's mum on the Sunday and then my mum on the Monday, but you know. And then a cute little photo of my partner's mum's Bengal bandit. May 9th. My mum had bought us tickets to go to a gothic musical in Minehead for Christmas. However, she wasn't able to get childcare because my little sister was having difficulties getting put to bed at night time without my mum there, so I ended up going with my partner instead. My dad showed me a video on Instagram of a restaurant in Minehead that looked amazing a couple of days before, so we decided to try and get in there. Ibisu, I think it's pronounced, I don't know, I'm awful at pronunciations, is a Japanese restaurant, I think, and the food was incredible. The quality of the ingredients were amazing and the food tasted so good. I tried fresh wasabi for the first time and was blown away. I normally hate the wasabi you get in sushi packets, and it was so good. And I finally got my partner to try sushi, and he actually liked it. Afterwards, we were stuffed and ran late to the show, but of course, my partner spotted a Casper's and had to get ice cream before we could go. I had a really nice pistachio ice cream, and actually, when we got to the show, it meant there wasn't a rush to get in because pretty much everyone else was seated, which made it much easier on my neurodivergent brain. But anyway, the show we went to was called Vampires Rock Eternal Love, a small local show where they clearly loved what they were doing. It was a cross between a pantomime and a musical. My partner doesn't like musicals, much less pantos, so he really didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it, however, it didn't make much sense. The story was quite disjointed, and the ending was a bit confusing. However, there were lots of pretty girls dressing in gothic outfits, so I was happy. Lastly, all I needed to do was reattach a couple of letters on the front. Hopefully they will stay stuck this time, and that's all up to date. As I said, I haven't done much, especially since May, as I've been in a major flare-up and been really ill. It also seems I may be reacting to gluten, and my sister has celiac disease, so I'm currently doing a food diary and we'll have to go get tested. I'm already lactose intolerant. Being celiac on top, or even just gluten intolerant, is not going to be ideal. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!